Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, the Dodgers swept a doubleheader in Cleveland. We'll talk all about those two games, the dominant offensive performance in those games. We'll talk about Mookie Betts, who did a lot of that dominating and continues his push towards MVP. We'll talk about Ryan Pepiot, who is an unexpected bright spot in the Dodgers pitching staff. All that and more on Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Dodger fans, this is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. Or even better, go and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now. Then you can be an everydayer just like we are. If this is your first time with us, I am just Snider. That guy next to me is Vince Samperio. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans just like you. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room. So we're not quite insiders, but we bring you the smart fans perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Swing for the fences on Sleeper picks, and you could win up to 100 times your money. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And Vince, two things that don't seem like they could be true at the same time happen to be true. The Dodgers have won 4 of their last 5 games over the last 6 days. And also, heading into Thursday, the Dodgers hadn't won a game in 5 days. And yet, somehow, both of those things are true because they won a doubleheader on Saturday, then they didn't play on Sunday or Monday. They lost on Tuesday. They got rained out on Wednesday, and then they swept a doubleheader on Thursday. You know what? It's unconventional, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, if you're going to lose first game of the series and then win the next 2 on the same and win 2 games on the same day, I'll take it. It was still marred a little bit by some, maybe call it incompetence on the field from other people, not named the Dodgers, but they got it done, so it worked out.
Yeah, specifically, we'll just rant a little bit about this. Get it out of the way.
Is this kind of as an umpire rant?
No, I know because
okay,
yeah, I am going to rant against the umpires, but this isn't them being bad at calling balls and strikes.
Right.
So on Wednesday night, they delayed the game, put the tarp on 45 minutes before any rain fell. So they could have gotten at least 2 more innings in then, maybe 3. Maybe Clayton Kershaw can get the win. We talked about that on yesterday's episode. Well, they did the same thing in this in the resumption of that first game on Thursday morning. After the 8th inning, 1 inning left, and they pulled out the tarp with no rain falling. Rain didn't fall for 20 minutes after that, which means they could have finished the game and then have their rain delay during the gap between games that they had to have a gap anyway. But instead, crew chief Mark Wegner decided to be really bad at his job. Everybody's blaming the grounds crew, and maybe the grounds crew is overzealous, but ultimately it is up to the umpire. The rules specifically say once lineup cards have been exchanged, I mentioned this on yesterday's episode, once lineup cards have been exchanged, it is up to the crew chief, the umpire, when and whether to delay the game, to pull out the tarps. And so maybe Mark Wegner got bullied by the grounds crew, or maybe he's just, I have no idea. But you would think that he would have learned from his mistake on Wednesday night when he pulled out the tarp and then it didn't rain for 45 minutes. Hey, maybe let's not delay this one with 1 inning left until there's at least some raindrops falling. And, but we can't expect him to learn from his lessons when it's been a whole 11 hours since the last time he made the same exact bonehead mistake.
Yeah, I guess. I feel like he got strong-armed by the Cleveland grounds crew.
Yeah, just, you shouldn't be a crew chief if you're getting strong-armed by a grounds crew. Sorry, Mark. But other than that, it was pretty good. Although in the second game, something I never seen before that I can remember, the Dodgers in the 8th inning, I believe, had a single, a double, a triple in the same inning and didn't score a run, which is really hard to do. I don't know how to look up and see if that's ever happened before, but I bet it's pretty rare. But other than that 8th inning, the Dodgers just dominated. They won 6-1 in the first game. They won 9-3 in the second game. We're going to talk about Ryan Pepiot in the last segment today, so we won't talk too much about him right now. But overall, And I guess we're going to talk about Mookie Betts in the second segment. So besides Pepiot and Betts, Vince, what were your big takeaways from these two games?
Kike Hernandez continues to rake. It was his birthday. He had a couple doubles in one of the games, had an RBI double and another hit. He was hitting all day as well. Freddie Freeman got back in the hit column. He, seemingly had been struggling scuffling a little bit lately. And I don't think we saw I think we saw almost every arm. Yeah, we did because Brian Hudson pitched that first game. I think we saw every arm in the bullpen today, right? So
yeah, I can never remember who's on the roster currently, who's hurt, but yeah, I think we saw pretty much everybody. It was
Gonzalez, Varland, Brazier, Vesia, Gratterall, Hudson. None of those guys allowed a run.
Yeah, Yarbrough allowed 2 runs and
one on a broken. No, that was Yarbrough. On the broken pickoff attempt, which
Pepiot's game on a home run.
Yeah, it's one of those where that one specifically, you take the out right there, right?
Yeah. Once Kike started running that runner back to first base, you got to just commit. It's early in the game. It's 1 run, and Kike should have maybe kept the guy closer to third. Freddie probably should have just taken the out once Kike didn't keep the guy closer to third. I think it's mostly on Kike, but Freddie maybe could have saved his bacon and at least gotten out of the deal. That would have kept the second run off the board because that guy should have been out. Instead, he scored on Bo Naylor's double.
Yeah, and also, who would have thought that the game the Dodgers scored the least amount of runs was the one that Noah Syndergaard started?
Yeah. When you look at the series, Bob Miller against Noah Syndergaard, okay, well, that one's a win. And then you face 2 rookies. Hopefully, maybe you can sweep this. But, Syndergaard against Miller didn't go the Dodgers' way. One thing that went the Dodgers' way on Thursday, Michael Busch. He got his first career home run. He also got his first career sac fly. So a 2 RBI game for him. Obviously really happy for him to get that first homer on the board. He hadn't been able to hit a home run in his last stint in the big leagues, and then he hit a ton in the minor leagues. And so happy to see that for him. He is so soft-spoken. I don't know if you saw his post-game interview, but he is just the most gentle soul that you'll ever see. I love the guy. I was super happy for him.
Yeah, great to see, and kind of what you want to. I mean, obviously, you want to see it for him to succeed, but you also want to see it because, you don't want him to. You don't want to see a guy that dominates in AAA and then come because the Dodgers have had that a lot recently in the last few years, and you don't really want to see it. You want to see a hitter come up and actually, like James Outman. I mean, he had that scuffle, came back from it, looking good again. But yeah, I mean, the Guardians. If anything, they're known for their pitching, which they're not necessarily top tier pitching right now, but they've been good enough. The Dodgers had 14 hits in the first game total and 15 hits in the second game total. So the offense is moving around. And, like I said, we're going to talk about Mookie, who had a lot of those hits in both games.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Mookie, we might be talking about Freddie because Freddie went 5 for 9 in these 2 games combined, getting off that schneid. James Outman did struggle mostly in the series, but he did have a big 2-run hit in this game. And so people stepping up and coming through. Austin Barnes, I think, had 2 hits in the second game today. Just overall, a great team win, team performance. And, in a way, it makes the loss on Tuesday a little more frustrating. Should have been a sweep, but, we'll take a series win. I think there's 7 straight series wins, so can't complain too much about that.
Yeah, I think one point we'll probably talk about in a future episode soon is outfield, but defense in general. The Dodgers made a lot of good plays in both of these games. And if you look around, other than maybe third base where Muncie's just okay at best, everywhere else it's looking good, pretty good, solid defensively.
Yeah, and Muncie does have the most defensive runs saved since the All-Star break in baseball. So, he's been better too. So, yeah, probably a topic for another day. The Dodgers now head off to Boston, which is where Mookie Betts used to play. And we're going to talk about Mookie Betts in a second. So thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Look, the Red Sox apparently have something called Cutter Crawford pitching for them tonight. Do you think Mookie Betts is going to homer off Cutter Crawford? He probably is. Maybe you ought to check out Sleeper and put your money where your mouth is. And you can swing for the fences with Sleeper with up to 100 times payouts. All you have to do is choose 2 or more players that you like. Maybe you like Lance Lynn to get a bunch of strikeouts. A lot of things, Freddie Freeman to stay hot. Pick 2 or more players that you like. Select more or less on their stat categories like home runs, strikeouts, hits, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win big. They also have dynamic payouts. What are the dynamic payouts? In short, each player projection now has a multiplier attached to it as opposed to preset multipliers based on the number of legs in a contest. With dynamic payouts also come more stat categories to place contests on. You can get higher payouts than other apps with fewer picks. So use promo code Locked On and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit at Sleeper. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. We are back. We want to thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. We especially want to thank our everydayers, those of you who are with us every weekday morning. We love you and appreciate you. If you're not an everydayer, it's really easy to become one. Just watch or listen every weekday morning. And tell your friends and family. We'd love to talk Dodgers with everybody you know. Everybody you know who loves the Dodgers, we'll talk Dodgers with them 5 days a week. Also want to remind you, today's game against the Red Sox is the Apple TV game. That is sometimes a challenge for some of you to watch. If you don't have the Apple TV subscription or whatever, remember you can always check out the Dodgers radio broadcast of every game on SiriusXM or the SXM app. Just launch the app and search for Dodgers. You can also listen to this podcast on the SXM app by searching for Locked On Dodgers. And finally, I want to remind you, if you are watching this on YouTube, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the YouTube comment section. If you listen on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you through social media or email or whatever. We'll give you all that contact info at the end like we always do. And with that said, let's talk about Mookie Betts. Mookie went 7 for 8 in these last 2 games of the series. I don't remember what he did in the first game of the series. I know that he extended a hitting streak. But he went 5 for 5 in the game that started on Wednesday and ended on Thursday. And then he went 2 for 3 in Thursday's game before coming out early. The Dodgers had a big lead, and with the humidity and the rain delay and everything, and 2 games made sense to get Mookie off his feet. They later got Freddie off his feet too. And hard to complain about 7 for 8 over 2 games. Mookie is now at 89 RBIs out of the leadoff spot, which we talked last week about the potential history he's making there. Only 2 guys have ever gotten to 100 RBIs out of the leadoff spot, and nobody's gotten past 103. He's on pace to fly past that, on pace to fly past the home run record, and maybe become just the second player ever to win an MVP in both leagues after Frank Robinson did it back in the 60s. Mookie won it in 2018 with the Red Sox, and I'd say, Vince, right now Mookie has to be the front runner for MVP in the National League.
Yeah, he went 2 for 3 on Friday, so it's just a week full of multi-hit games. But yeah, Acuna has him on average in stolen bases by a significant amount, very less significant in batting average than it was before. But other than that, Mookie's either right there or beating him in all those things. He's playing 3 positions. Premium position at shortstop, and then he's been a Gold Glove right fielder in the past, and he's playing very well at second base as well. And he's taking that charge right now, and we haven't seen this Mookie with the Dodgers yet. We've seen Mookie be really good, but you just look at, one particular at bat, he was down, I think 0-2 or 1-2 early on. Fouled a couple, looked a couple bad pitches off, fouled a couple pitches off, and then ends up getting a base hit. He hit a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that was at his shoulders for a base. Like, he's hitting everything right now, and we haven't seen, Mookie hitting for an all-worldly, hitting for average and power. We haven't seen that with the Dodgers. He was a little bit more power, not, average-wise wasn't quite where he was in his MVP and some of those Boston years. But he's here now, and he's on track to have the best season of his career. And 2018 was already a really, really good, top-notch season, maybe of all time. And he's about to pass all that up the way he's going right now.
Yeah, and it's funny to say we haven't seen this version. We've never seen Mookie be this good with the Dodgers. When you think about the fact that he's been an all-star every year that he's been with the Dodgers, that they've had an all-star team. He finished second in the MVP voting his first year with the Dodgers. He finished 5th last year. Mookie's been very, very good the entire time he's been with the Dodgers, and yet this is next level for him. It's been so fun to watch. And like when you watch him hit, it's just like, he's not going to get a hit every time up, but it's still surprising when he gets out because he's just on everything. And the thing that's really stood out to me is with 2 strikes, he never seems overmatched. You're not even worried. And there's been times with Mookie when he's slumped where it's like, okay, yeah, he's switched through some pitches or whatever. Lately, like there's no chance. I think he swung and missed 1 time in the last 3 games. It's just ridiculous. And he is just putting the bat on the ball. And, his 2 hits in the last game of this series today were both line drives to the opposite field. He just took where it was pitched. He's not trying to rip it. He hit, I think 4 of the 5 hits in game 2 of the series were pull hits, 2 of them off the wall in left field and 2 line drives to left. But both hits on Thursday afternoon were just line drives to right field. And it's like, hey, that's what you're going to give me. One of them drove in the first run of the game for the Dodgers. He later scored the second run that inning. And so he started that rally that tied the game. The Dodgers were down 2-0. They scored 8 runs unanswered after that. And Mookie was the catalyst for that. And yeah, it's remarkable what he's doing. It's remarkable that he's driving in so many runs out of the leadoff spot, because when he came up in the 8th or 9th inning or whatever it was of the last game, the game 2 of the series, I don't know how to refer to these games when we have one that took 36 hours to play. But when he came up with bases loaded and he ripped the ball off the wall in left field, it would have been a grand slam at Dodger Stadium probably. Instead, it was just a 2-run double. Because when Mookie has RBI chances, he is not letting them go to waste.
Yeah, he's coming through in all facets at the plate right now. You look, anyway you slice it, last week, batting 600, last 2 weeks, batting almost 500, last month, over the last 30 games, he's hitting 385. So he's on fire right now. And yeah, like you said, he's not swinging and missing. And anytime he does strike out, it's usually on a borderline pitch that sometimes could have went either way. Sometimes it's just a borderline good pitch by the pitcher. Like he's not getting beat very often. And when he does, he's getting beat by, an elite pitch or a pitch that had elite command or control or whatever you want to call it. Sometimes pitchers aren't even trying to throw like that. It just happens. But yeah, he's been all you can ask for, and we're just lucky to witness it. And the fact that all this is happening as he goes back to Boston is probably just a little bit more, kick in the pants for those Red Sox fans who are ready to welcome him back and probably still upset that they traded him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes in Boston. This hot streak probably has to end at some point. Hopefully it won't end in his old home in Boston. But whenever it does end, chances are, because he's Mookie, he'll start another one right up after that. And I think there's news you can announce now, right, Vince, about your day job in Mookie?
Yeah, so this morning, right now, maybe as you're listening, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Mookie's doing the show with David Ortiz. So they'll be talking about his return to Boston, their time in Boston, and then now his time in LA and some other stuff. So it should be a good show. Obviously, David Ortiz is a big personality, so it should work out.
That'll be a fun one. Mookie's been great. And I just looked up stats with runners in scoring position this year. Mookie has his OPS before, this doesn't include the 2 games on Thursday. His OPS with runners in scoring position was 1109, batting 372.
11.35 now.
1135, nice. And so really the only person with a significant number of plate appearances ahead of him is Matt Olson. Matt Olson's been awesome with runners in scoring position too, which, that's something to think about. But, then you throw in Mookie's defense at 3 different positions, and that's my MVP. Mookie's my MVP.
Yeah, he's hitting 318 with an OPS over 1,000 in late and close situations as well. So
yeah,
coming
you pick a split. Mookie's probably doing really well in it because he's doing really well all over the place.
Yeah.
We're going to come back in a minute. We're going to talk about Ryan Pepiot and how good he looked again. He's now made 2 appearances this season and looked really good in both of them. We'll talk about that. So thanks again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. We are back. We want to thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. Want to remind you, if you can't catch tonight's game or any Dodger game on TV or in person, you can always catch the Dodgers radio broadcast on Sirius XM or the SXM app. Just launch the app and search for Dodgers. Also want to remind you to be an everydayer. Just watch or listen to this show every weekday morning. Obviously, we got really good numbers on our Shohei Ohtani centric episode yesterday because Ohtani always does good numbers. That's not why we did it. It was big news, and it's big news for the Dodgers. But, hopefully some of you decide to stick around, and we're not going to talk about Ohtani every episode, but we do talk Dodgers every episode. So we hope you'll keep sticking around and keep coming back. Ryan Pepiot went 4 innings. I was hoping he'd get a 5-inning save, but I think he ended up throwing about 75 pitches in his 4 innings. Maybe not quite as efficient as he would have liked, but other than that, it wasn't for lack of, he had good command. He was throwing strikes, just maybe a few more base runners that he would have liked at inopportune times to keep those pitch counts really down. But Pepiot looked great, getting a ton of swing and miss. His first inning, he struck out the side on 11 pitches, I think, and just dominant. All 3 strikeouts were swinging, and just a really, really, the changeup looked good, the slider looked good, the fastball looked good. Everything about it was playing off each other. And we talked about this after his appearance on Saturday. That version of Ryan Pepiot is really, really good.
Yeah, it's the guy that we expected, the guy that can command it, has a nice, nasty changeup. He got 6 swings and misses on the fastball, but that was on 25 swings. He got 6 swings and misses on the changeup, and that was just on 12 swings off changeup. So that's the changeup that, we heard about, that we were excited about, that, everybody was ready for. And he's mixing in the slider. He got a couple of swings on the slider. He threw it, I think, 9 times overall. But that's all you really need. If you have that good changeup, you can have that, mid-90s fastball that you can spot. You just need that slider, that third pitch, whatever it is, to at least dance around the plate, be close enough to be a threat. And that's really all you need. And Kershaw on the other side, the fastball and slider are his 2. The curveball has it's pretty, but he doesn't use it that often. And it just looks very pretty when he does use it. So, that's any starting pitcher. That's kind of what you're going for, where you have 2 pitches that are great, and then you have 1 pitch that can at least be a threat. And that's what he's seemingly doing right now. And he's looking good. And I would imagine he's going to slot into the rotation now officially after this weekend series, because he was the 27th man again. So they'll be able to option him down, keep him with the team, keep the extra arms in the bullpen until whenever they need him to start.
Yeah, and he's now thrown 9 innings this year, which makes it really easy to figure out rate stats like ERA. He's thrown 9 innings, allowed 2 runs. That's an ERA of 2. He's allowed 6 hits and 1 walk, so that's a WHIP of 0.777. Anything under about 1.2 is good. Anything under 1 is excellent. He's under 0.8. He's got 11 strikeouts in those 9 innings. Just everything, with the caveat that it's just 9 innings, but the big issues for Pepiot was always command and confidence in his stuff. And the command's been great, and the confidence has to be great after these 2 appearances. And so when you factor in, Gonsolin being out and everything, Yarbrough kind of being comfortable in that long relief slot that they have him in, Pepiot seems like this rotation spot is his to lose. And, he's not likely to be in the postseason rotation, but he's definitely kind of making everybody take notice and say, this guy could be a big part of our postseason pitching staff, even if he's not in the rotation. If you're looking at him as a piggyback guy, everybody who's going to be in the Dodgers rotation, there's going to be question marks. And so having guys like Pepiot and Yarbrough in the bullpen and potentially one other guy, whether it's, in that first series when they only need 3 starters, maybe it's Lance Lynn is that third guy out of the bullpen who can go long relief. We'll see. But Pepiot is really working himself into all of those conversations, which is crazy considering that he was almost an afterthought for most of this season, just as he's been recovering from that unfortunate injury that, he had made the opening day roster. He was going to be the opening day rotation, and just terrible luck on his part, but he sure is making the most of of the opportunity now that he's finally gotten it.
Yeah, I mean, and not just long relief. Like if they don't end up needing that, he came in the fifth inning. I would hope he's not coming in the fifth inning of a playoff game. That means the starter didn't go that deep, but he came in, and let's just say you took out every other inning, but just that one inning he came in relief, he struck out the side, like that looked good. So he has that stuff, and velocity wise, he's mid 90s is good enough, especially with the stuff that he has, and if he's putting it down there. But I would imagine if they were like, hey, you're only throwing one inning, it might, and with the adrenaline of a postseason, like it might ramp up to a couple ticks there, and that will help out even more. So yeah, I'm interested. Obviously he fits into the rotation now, but I'm interested to see. Like we've talked about a lot, and we've talked about this the last couple of years now. They're minus 2021 of the Dodgers starting to build for October. And, I would imagine that Ryan Pepiot is going to have a variety of different roles and ways they use him over the next month once they kind of get the few times through the rotation, or once maybe, they're ready to bring up, one of these other guys, or they have that extra arm in the bullpen because of September call-up. Like I would imagine we could see him start a game, and then the next time come in the second inning after a 1-inning opener, and then the next time maybe used in a leverage situation late in the game. Like I would imagine they're going to try him out in a bunch of different roles to see if he can handle it, if he can get used to it, and if he can be valuable to them come October.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great position for him to be in because really it's up to him right now. He can kind of bet on himself. And if he performs well, he's going to have a shot at playing a big part. And that's all you can really hope for as a pitcher. That's going to do it for today, I think. As we mentioned, the Dodgers head off to Boston. They're probably in Boston by the time we're recording this right now, probably landing about now. Hopefully by the time you're all listening to this, they've gotten a good night's sleep. We will see how the weather treats them this weekend, because I'm looking at my weather app right now. It's showing 100% chance of rain on Friday, 60% chance of rain on Saturday, and 30% chance of rain on Sunday. Now that doesn't mean 100% chance of rain doesn't mean it's going to rain all day. Although if I look at the 24 hours, oh yeah, I mean, there's a chance of rain all day. So we'll see if we may get another doubleheader or something. The weather, just play all the games at Dodger Stadium. Rob Manfred, that's my one request. All Dodger games are played at Dodger Stadium. Just make it happen.
Yeah, they have one more trip to the East, but there's no days off, real days off. I don't think that would work. So hopefully they can get them all in right now. I mean, I guess for the Dodgers' sake, they're probably, unless they're.
We don't want a situation where they're only playing 160 or 161 games, because we need Mookie Betts to hit his numbers. We need Freddie Freeman to hit his numbers, we're looking for raw stats here.
Yeah, exactly. And we need guys like Kershaw has to pitch. Like he didn't get to pitch this last one.
Yep. Well, whatever happens, we are going to be here on Monday morning to talk to all of you about it, hopefully about another series win. But whatever it is, we'll be here. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Especially thank you to our everydayers. If you're not an everydayer, please start listening or watching every day. If you have friends or family who love the Dodgers like you do, please tell them about the show. Maybe they'll like it too. Remember, you can check out the Dodgers radio broadcast of every game on SiriusXM or the SXM app by searching for Dodgers. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at VinceSince91. I'm on Twitter at Snidog. Both of our DMs are open there. You can email us at lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or you can send us a voicemail or shoot us a text at 323-863-LOCK-5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Have a good one.